Well, welcome to the final episode of Kawasaki Superteens. After 2 seasons of amazing racing, we've crowned our 2025 Superteen champion, Henry Snell. So we first met Henry at the beginning of last season, fresh off the plane from Australia, as he embarked on 2 seasons of Superteen racing. We've come down here today to Henry's home away from home in Suffolk to reflect on his championship win and his time in the UK and racing in general. Right then, champion, tell us, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was pretty raw emotions. Obviously, my first championship ever, so it was good because I knew I had to win that race to win the championship, and I was stoked to actually get there and win it by a fair bit of a lead. It was my biggest win of the year. But yeah, to roll in and obviously have the gold helmet waiting there for me was just, yeah, unreal. And then up on the podium, drank out of my boot, which is pretty disgusting, but I think it's kind of a must as an Aussie. One of the best days ever.
And tell me about the shoey.
Me and Brody always had this thing from when we started road racing. Whoever won a championship, that's the only time we'd do a shoey. We never do it for a win, but we said, whoever wins the championship first, you got to do a shoey. And I think, well, I did it now, so I had to pull my boot off up on the podium and yeah, tip some champagne into it.
Yeah, awesome. So you just told me that when you head back to Australia in a couple of weeks' time, you were back over to the Great Barrier Reef. It's slightly different to Suffolk. Looking back to the start of 2024 when this Superteen Championship got underway, you came over from Australia, long way to come over and race.
Yeah, it was a bit of like a culture change, especially coming over here and it lands the weather's like this. But no, it was good. It's like a new experience, new adventure. Obviously I came over with my mate Brody, got teammates in Australia, and then we both got on the same team with Leon and the Rocker Rookies, which was unreal. And yeah, we started from there, landed in. I think we had Donington 4 days after we landed, so yeah, it was good.
What was it like when you first got on it on that first day at Donington?
Well, to be fair, we actually bought the ZX4s in Australia. We got like one of the first ones in Oz. But we had a bit of an advantage because we got them in September when we were still racing in like the Supersport class. Yeah. And then so we had a whole off season of training and testing the ZX4 before I think they even came out in England. So when we got here, it wasn't like on a whole new bike. The biggest thing was just trying to learn the tracks, and I went 2 years with no wet racing in Oz, so to come over here in your first track day being wet. But no, it was good. It was a good experience. We met Levi through his training days in Australia in the pre-season, and yeah, we just got to talking, and he agreed to help us with like a sort of mentor / coach, just because obviously he's been here for 10+ years racing, so he knows the paddock really well. And then when we came back this year, he rented a house for us, got us a car. So yeah, him and his family was like really taking us under a wing, and it's nice to have like that sort of second home. Yeah, he's a massive help to us, kind of invaluable, because you just need someone like that who's been there and done that and has all the experience.
So it's pretty cool. Not only have you got Levi Day here helping you as well, but you've got Leon Haslam and Ron Haslam as well.
Yeah,
I suppose like as a network, it must have helped you, you know, in a pretty big way, coming from being a rookie to the British Superbike Championship.
Oh, definitely. I think that's what's helped me win this championship this year, to come over and have a bit of a rough season last year, but that's just how it goes, just learning bikes, tracks, everything. But yeah, to have then Levi in my corner back in Oz, and then to fly back, rejoin with Leon, and have Ron and the whole Haslam family with me, it's just, yeah, it's definitely what's built me to the rider I am now, because if I was over here by myself and just doing it with my dad or just like with Brody, I think we would have found it a lot harder.
Did you manage to learn from some of the other riders who had maybe raced here already in the UK?
Oh, for sure, yeah, because obviously we had Chloe, Calvin, Brody, some really top riders in my team, and obviously Calvin won the championship last year. We had like Kyle Harris, Ted Wilkinson, all those boys that have moved up now that are obviously doing unreal. Obviously they've got all the knowledge, having racing here a couple of years, so it'd be silly not to try and follow them and do what they're doing, because they know the way around the track, and obviously we didn't. So I think they helped just massively, just following them in qualifying sessions and racing and just getting toes off them. You realise, oh, you can brake that much later, or you run the curb a bit more. But yeah, definitely learned a heap off all the riders.
What would you say was the main thing that you took away from last year that's helped you in your success this year?
I think definitely was just being more consistent over the whole season. I had a bit of struggle last year. I had to have surgery on my arms, but once it was sorted, it was more just trying to do consistent laps every lap, and try and fight in that top 5 the whole time, always being consistent and trying not to crash.
Which you obviously did at the last round.
Yeah, sadly.
So obviously when you landed last year, and I first met you and Brody as well at the same time, you know, you were obviously, you know, quite nervous about coming over to the UK, and you know, wasn't quite sure what to expect. And you know, when you first went on track, you could see, you know, you sort of results fluctuated a little bit, and it's been great to see you develop over last year and then again all the way through this year as well, and turn into such a much more polished rider on the track, but also like such a more confident person off the track as well. Like, it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, well that's the great thing about the Superteen Championship, because it's all on a one make bike. It really comes down to the rider, and to see people like Chloe race Unreal all last year, and now she's in the World Championship and she's doing really well there. And obviously Bro did the same, come over here, had a really good year the first year, moved up with a sport bike. And then obviously Calvin as well won the championship and was in Supersport at the start of the year, which was again another jump. And I think that's just the motivation to go and try and get a championship, and then yeah, to try and make that jump like they all have.
And talking about kind of like Australian riders and your motivation to race, who are your biggest motivators, like Australian road racing wise, that have motivated you to do this career?
Oh, I definitely think Jack Miller, because he only lives 2 hours up the road from me. So we're both from that far north Queensland. He's definitely one of like my idols, because he raced dirt track same as me. And similar with Casey Stoner as well, they've all come from a dirt track background, same as me, and made the move to road racing. Well, I think Stoner actually raced Superteens in BSB. So that's another big thing, where he's done it, he's done the same path as me, and he made it there as world champion.
You mentioned dirt track there. Obviously we did a bit of flat tracking earlier in the year. That seemed like a pretty cool way to train for road racing, is it?
I think it helps me massively on wet weather riding, because you're so used to the bike, like the front washed and the rear sliding, and the bike's just all over the place. So when you come to the road and then you're in a wet race and it slides out of place, you're sort of used to it, doesn't like scare you or spook you. Obviously it didn't work out for me the last round, but I mean, that's whatever. But and it's good to stay bike fit, just so it doesn't matter what bike it is, as long as you're just on a motorbike training. But yeah, I think it definitely helps.
So kind of looking back at this season now that we've just completed, there's been a few riders who have really shone at like certain points throughout the season. Greg Marshall, David Lindemann, James Cook especially, you know, have all had kind of those peaks, but then maybe not quite shown the same level of consistency that you have. Is there anything that kind of you learned from last year with Calvin winning the title that you've translated into this year?
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously watching Calvin last year, he was consistent the whole way, and it paid off for him by the end of it. And I had a chat with him at the start of the year, and he just basically told me, he said he only won 4 races last year, but was just always there. Only had 1 DNF, but was just either standing on the podium or in that top 5. And he just said, you just got to score points when everyone else has their errors. At least you're finishing. And that was a big thing, because I thought, yeah, well, that's, you win championships is just being consistent. So I think that definitely helped.
You talk about being consistent, and to me that's like taking a win, taking a 3rd, or I need to take a 4th or whatever. But for you, it's kind of just been, or go and win.
Yeah, I had an all right season last year. It was my first year, so you have a bit of an excuse, but I had no excuse now to come back on the same bike, same team, to do the same series. I had to win. When you get a 2nd and a half on the first 3 laps, it's harder for when 2nd and 3rd are battling to try and catch back up, and then to get past as well. My opening laps were my biggest main thing, to just hit all my markers on the first lap, no mistakes, and then just continue on the same lap times for the rest of the race.
Who else do you think has kind of shone this year in the class who you think's got a bright future in BSB?
I think definitely James Cook. Obviously, he raced last year and got a couple wins at Brands, but again, he's come back to the series with the same as me, wanting to win, and he's been there and he's given me a run for money the whole year. Got unlucky with a couple crashes, but at the end of the day, that is just racing. But yeah, I think hopefully he definitely moves on, because it'd be great to be racing him again next year. So yeah, I'd love to see him in the paddock still.
I agree with you totally. James Cook's been great over the 2 years. He's really shone.
Also, Freddie Oakley, well, he got 3rd in the championship, and obviously I think it was everyone's first year last year. And yeah, he's come through, had a couple of podiums, but he's finished every race. Like, to go a whole season without a single crash is pretty impressive. So, but yeah, he rode Unreal all year. He's the only one that didn't crash, so that's a massive thing.
It's been a big deal for you to come all the way across the other side of the world to race. Takes a lot of commitment. What advice would you have for any other riders who are in Australia or in America or anywhere else in the world about coming over to the UK and racing?
I reckon 100% do it. I think the BSB is the best domestic championship to race in. And it's a shame that the Superteens is leaving next year, because I thought that was probably one of the best entry-level classes you could come to. There's going to be a new class next year. So I still think it's great to come over here and have a crack against some championships here, because then again, Europe's only over there. So it's a lot easier to be trying to get from ASBK or wherever you are racing all the way over to the Europe when you're in the BSB You learn how to ride in the wet, the dry, every condition. But yeah, I think it's a great jump, and I think everyone should be doing it.
Yeah, and as you just mentioned, obviously the class is slightly changing for next year. The Ninja ZX4RR is still going to be very much applicable, and you know, we think it's going to be the bike to race on in the new junior sport bike class next year. What do you reckon? Do you think it's going to be the right bike?
I think it's a no-brainer. We've had 2 years on this bike. It's got a setup. If you ride for a team like the Haslams, they've got all the data. They've won 2 championships on that bike. If I was redoing it again, I'd be on the ZX4 all day, because we know it works. It's got a setup. It's got information. People have got knowledge on how the bike runs. If we're going to come over and do the junior sport bike, the ZX4 would be the bike to pick, I reckon.
Well, Henry, thanks very much for today, coming down and spending some time chatting with us and talking through the past 2 seasons. This championship's been amazing for us. You know, for 2 years, we've watched a lot of riders like yourself come through, hone their racing craft, and I don't think there's been a more shining example than you, who's made the effort to come across the other side of the world, spend a year developing your talents, and then working your way through, and then winning the title. So appreciate everything from your side, and best of luck for what comes next for you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Cheers.
For us, this is still going to be really important for Team Green. The Ninja ZX4RR is still going to feature heavily in that class, we hope. We're going to still be right behind riders who choose this machinery in 2026, and hopefully find the next superstars of the future that we can help nurture throughout the classes and throughout their career with Kawasaki. We're going to reflect fondly on watching these battles that they've had over the 2 seasons on the green bikes, and you know, I hope that one day the future world champion, whether it be World Superbikes, MotoGP, who knows, they might have started their career with Team Green in the Kawasaki British Superteen Championship.